I'm sitting here with the wonderful Heather Rendulic. Hello, Heather.
Hello, Andrew.
Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate you just spending a little bit of time. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, good. So what we're talking about today is about positive mindset and the powerful impact that can have in your life. So I know, Heather, you've been through some trauma in your life. You've had a pretty undesirable situation occur that you've come through incredibly well. Would you mind just sharing a little bit about what you've had to go through?
Absolutely. So, when I was in my early 20s, I was diagnosed with a rare brain condition called cavernous angioma that was a lesion in my brain made up of really weak blood vessels that were bleeding into my brain. I ended up having five brain bleeds over the course of 11 months. And the fifth and final bleed paralyzed the whole left side of my body and had me fighting for my life and led me to have a 9-hour craniotomy, so brain surgery. And then after the surgery, I was still paralyzed and had to kind of fight back to regain my independence.
Wow. And so since the surgery and since you were paralyzed, prognosis was probably not very good in terms of how you would then go on and live your life. Tell us what you're able to do. Tell us how you've overcome it and how you're living your life right now.
Well, it's been an amazing journey. I was able to relearn how to walk, so I'm no longer in a wheelchair. I'm happy to report. I graduated from college with honors. I work full time. I got married, bought a house, and I wrote a book.
And
So
you've
I live a very great life.
Yeah, awesome. And you've just published your first book called Headstrong, which we can see in the background, which is a wonderful achievement. So, Heather, this is what I want to focus on for this little short time that we're together. I know we've spoken many, many times. And the thing that's really impresses me about you is your mindset that and how positive you are. And even going in to the surgery, and I know, just tell us what the doctor said to, or the surgeon said to you, because they didn't know how you might come out the other end. What did they actually say to you in terms of what were the possibilities after the surgery?
Well, the doctors really didn't know if I would ever walk again. They also went over all the risks. Obviously, brain surgery is a pretty risky procedure. And they explained that, I might not wake up, I might be in a coma, I might die, my personality might change, I might be even more paralyzed than I already was going into the surgery. There was really just no way to tell because the brain is such a delicate area and anything could go wrong. So I really had no idea for sure what was going to happen.
So, I mean, that's a pretty fearful place to be. You're about to be put into an anesthetic for you don't know how long, and you don't know how you're going to come out the other end. Tell us, Heather, what was your mindset going into that surgery?
My mindset was I'm going to come out of the surgery and start fighting and working to regain my independence. And I was going to be just fine in the end. I was going to be successful. I was going to accomplish. I wanted to walk again. That was my main priority. And I was going to live a very fulfilling life. So those all was my mindset going in was this is what I was going to do. And it was going to be wonderful.
So there's a really powerful, I guess, message that the people watching this, I know they're going to get, that no matter how uncertain something might seem or what you're about to go through, if you can go into it knowing the outcome because you've already said to yourself, I'm going to fight and I'm going to regain my independence. Very powerful. Now, this is a story I love, Heather. I love this story. When you woke up out of 9-hour surgery, tell us what happened.
So I was slowly waking up from the anesthesia and I was in recovery, and my family was surrounding my bed. And my sister, who's 3 years my senior, she was just about to get married. And I think it was about 7 or 8 months. And she was like just sobbing over my bed, and which anybody would, because here's her little sister with all these tubes coming out of her head. And You know, it was she was happy to see me waking up, but it was just a traumatic sight. And I woke up and I looked at her and I said, "Oh, stop your crying. I'll be dancing at your wedding." And I was.
And oh wow, I love that story, Heather, because again, you could have woken up out of an anesthetic feeling sorry for yourself. You could have woken up doubting whether or not you would have a normal life. You could have woken up with all sorts of negative thoughts and emotions and feelings, yet you woke up and the very first thing that came out of your mouth to your sister was, "I will be dancing at your wedding." And you did. And I think there's incredible power in what we believe and what we think and what we say. And that is all thoughts and ideas we come up with in our own mind. So I guess, Heather, just to wrap up this short little video, what are some other aspects of mindset that have helped you get yourself back to this point of total independence? You're now an author, you're now married, bought a house, working full time, you're on the verge of a speaking career and really making a difference in lives. What are some of the key things around mindset that you would like to offer people listening?
I think the best thing I learned is to look at every challenge as not a, oh, this is, a bad hand of, cards I was dealt, but look at it as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to get stronger. And mind you, there are going to be times, there's going to be days that you don't really feel like conquering the world, and that's okay too. But you're allowed to have those days. We're only human. I think, though, if you just simplify it and just look at each day, what can I do today that's going to get me a little bit closer to my goal? It kind of takes that pressure off, but just still keeping that positive thinking, and just keep pushing forward and look at it as an opportunity rather than a death sentence.
Wow, that's amazing. So Heather, thank you so much. Your book's in the background, so Headstrong is the name of the book. Your website's coming up on the screen now as we're talking, so if people want to get a hold of the book, they can. Also, we've just released a podcast as well, which people can listen to also and hear more about your story. But Heather, thank you so much for taking a bit of time to share your journey and the power of positive mindset.
Oh, thank you, Andrew, for having me.